Tonight's confession is about the deoxyribonucleic acid, simply known as DNA. A young woman came to us and she said that she's done something unpardonable. For the sake of DNA, a woman has lost her family and eventually her life. I hate it when the confessions are so pathetic, sad, but I need to go in there and listen to it. I'm curious as well. Let's listen and learn. Tonight's confession is brought to you by MTN, everywhere you go, and supported by EcoPlus. My name is Miss Nancy, and you're welcome to TV3. DNA raises all eyebrows all over Ghana. When it's about DNA, everybody's curious because the stories that has been trending about DNA, my goodness. Tonight, I have a lady in my confessions booth and she says she's done something unpardonable and it's got to do with DNA. And I am ready. My ears are actually itching wide open, but my lips are sealed. I'm not here to judge. I'm only here to listen. So we'll learn a thing or two from it. My lady, you're welcome to Confessions.
Thank you, Miss Nancy.
Now, your confession, your story.
I don't know whether to continue the marriage or not. I exchanged his DNA results. I work in a hospital and deal with different patients from different walks of life. Some years ago, I handled this gentleman who came to the hospital with his 3 children to have a paternity test because he suspects his wife. Honestly, this man looks very good. And his children looked so adorable. And they looked so much like him. I knew instantly I liked him and wished I had him to myself. He was asked to come for his results some days after. Miss Nancy, the kids are his, but I swapped his results. And that shook this man. As the results I gave him says the children aren't his. I took his number so I could communicate with him and console him sometimes. We kept our communications up and he confirmed he divorced his wife after some time. One thing led to another and we are now married with a child, making 4 kids for him. I got the news that the woman is dead now because she's been worrying about the issue since the divorce. And it's been haunting me. My husband is very happy now, but I'm having difficulty living with myself in the house when I think of the woman dying before. My husband is very happy now, but I'm having difficulty living with myself in the house when I think of the woman dying before of what I did.
It's been a while since I heard such a confession. One that tears right through your soul. An innocent woman lost her family, her loving husband, and even her children, and eventually her life, because another woman coveted her husband and her family life. She didn't live to know that she was lied on. I have no idea what she must have gone through till her last days. This is a confession. I am not here to judge. And so I was saying, Gume, ni petimo sum. Hey! There's always been this notion about nurses, about how they would carefully, patiently take care of their patients only for them to become theirs in the end. So many stories, but we've met great nurses who would do anything for a patient without looking for anything in return. Tonight is a health worker who worked at a hospital where they were conducting DNAs. And you know the story, don't you guys? Yeah. You heard, didn't you? Yesterday, Nipa ye cobra. Nipa day. Any question or contribution, please?
Miss Nancy, what a confession. This is serious.
It is.
this is wickedness. Envy. Like, why would you even envy someone's husband? Because you are thinking that the children looks like him. So you want him to yourself. Why? And this one day, even the universe, the universe will not even forgive her. Not even like the ghost of the woman. It's a serious thing. And right now, she's battling with physical realm, spiritual realm, and mentally too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if care is not taken, Miss Nancy, I think people should be around her because she can do anything to herself. Because right now, she's not stable mentally.
That is quite sad. It is quite sad. Yes, my lady, you are a woman. At what point do you crave somebody's man so much so that you had to lie on the person? I've heard stories of women setting other women up with toy boys or boy toys just for them to fornicate for their husbands to catch them so that they leave them for them.
Miss Nancy, good evening.
Good evening.
So what I would say is that she did not do well at the first place because you knew the man is married with kids and then you wanted him for yourself. So if I was to be her, I'd rather go straight to the man to tell him I'm interested in him. And then if he also admires me in any ways and he also wants me, maybe I can then be a side chick to him, but not to punish him in that way.
Being a side chick to a married man is better than killing his wife and messing up his family, right? Our sister, thank you. Congratulations from all the Side Chick Association of Ghana. We're truly grateful that you think so kindly of the married women. We are very, very, very grateful. This is Confessions on TV3, and tonight, the confession is huge. It's sad, it's pathetic, it tells of the song Onipa Ye Cobra. Joining me in the studio tonight to make this conversation more enlightening for us all to learn from it is, of course, our dear counselor Edumata. It's always great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
He's not coming alone tonight.
That's right.
If we're talking about Nipa Ye Cobra, we want to know what gets into the minds of people for them to act in such wicked manner. Yeah. And so to do that with us tonight, our very dear Dr. Asafo, Seth Asafo. He is a clinical psychologist, and it's always great to have Seth on the show. A man that understands the minds of men, understands why men do the things that they do.
Media Sanita, let me down.
Doc, you tried to. Thank you. Gentlemen.
Yes, ma'am.
It's quite sad that I don't have a woman as a resource person yet.
Yeah.
It's a woman that committed this. It's a crime, isn't it?
It
is.
It's a crime.
Yeah.
Doc, is she normal? Is she, no, looking at what she's done, you work with the minds of human beings. This mind that sees a man, his children, doesn't think, oh, what a lovely family. Oh, this man looks so cute. Oh, he's such a responsible father. And immediately, he saw that there was a way into the man's life, and she took it. Is that how normal human beings think, or this one is different?
You see, the interesting thing is, in as much as this is a story that's out, there are many more things that happen in the background where people put their own needs before everyone else. So it might not entirely be a pathology, or we say a mental health challenge. Now, if I were to explain it, I mean, there are many ways I can look at it.
Yeah.
But the very first thing I'd like to say is there must have been something going on that she saw. That was the entry point. You see, if you are married, you have children, and suddenly you are going to test the children. It means there's an issue with trust in the middle of the relationship. And that's a thriving ground for someone to also what? Exploit. And I think that is exactly what that was. Now, on the second phase is that need to have that man could have been embedded within so many things that I call her perceptions of the man. You know, maybe he's handsome,
Handsome.
He's the ideal.
Doc, when I look at you, I see a man with a beautiful smile. And that's all I see.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you should be mine or I should be yours, nor anything. I'm able to appreciate things without coveting them.
Very good. Which is true, except you have probably not met your match.
Exactly.
You ever heard that expression of love at first sight?
Hey, Doc, we've loved, oh. Doc, we have loved, oh. Hi. You have no idea.
These things can be...
But we loved so much so that we didn't want to mess up the lives of the men we loved.
In the same vein, people love so much that they mess up with people without knowing, because that is a way of keeping the person close. So, you know, you have situations where somebody falls in love. In the beginning, all is well. And then when they finally are in, let's say, a tight relationship, they start doing all these unnecessary things, which seems like, but why are they doing it? To give a sense of safety. So when you're consistently saying, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, what you're doing is you're looking for reassurance. For the person to say, no, I haven't. And every time they try to prove to you they've not done something wrong, it gives you a sense of safety. Now, if you look at why many people get married, in as much as there's love, sense of safety seems to be higher on the pedestal than that. So if you see somebody who you believe will give you a sense of safety because of their status, because of the tendency that you may lose it in the moment is high. But in this specific case, because it was it's so risky, because there was no guarantee that you would eventually land with the person, all of that. Now, in that sense, I would look at it from a psychological perspective that we call entitlement, or having a sense of entitlement. And that is normally based in something we call narcissism, or being a narc or a narcissist, okay? So basically, the world should revolve around me. I deserve him more than you do. I am better off. Those could have been some of the underlying, and I'm saying this based on what I'm hearing. I don't have all the information. But if I were to put it within a certain perspective, I would say it's a sense of entitlement. The feeling that I deserve it more, which pushes people to engage in these kinds of behaviors. I mean, it is not uncommon. Somebody is married, they have a best friend, and the best friend suddenly looks at all the things that, you know, their friend is enjoying
in her marriage.
And then they feel like, nah, I should be the one.
No, Doc, so those healthy women who fall absolutely in love, sometimes with other people's partners, and yet they protect them. They make sure that you don't go home with makeup stains. You don't go home smelling like a woman because of my perfume. They actually would use neutral scents on them so that they do not mess up. Are they not loving enough, or what kind of breed of women are those?
It is an interesting question to ask, because what I know is that if you get attached to somebody, at some point, the logic goes away.
Sure.
You see, like a relationship is logical and emotional. The emotional side is where people use the expression "odoma nipe jimi," because when your emotions kick into high gear, it's difficult for you to exactly. So if somebody is doing all these things, perhaps their logical self is working really well, and they are evaluating a lot of things. Where I am, I'm still okay. I get to see the person. I'm getting small emotional support. I'm getting small financial support. So that logic is there. But I can promise you one thing. If that relationship continues, at some point, one person is going to want more. So in all these people have this interaction where they say we are going to an understanding. But at some point, somebody wants more. What happens? Because the emotions have kicked in. And that's what human nature is all about.
Excellent.
Alpha.
Yes, ma'am.
This woman, she saw a man and wanted him and did not care what she had to do to get him. Is that also called love, or there is another word for it?
Beye. Beye.
And your love.
It's not love.
Natural love.
Well, at the end of the propello, for you to have a thought to a point where you say that my man says some baby that mean you it's It's not heard of. But Miss Nancy, answer na dear way in our scene. What is it that the lady was looking for? Trying to tell the whole world that I've also gotten a guy who is like that and that,
fine
that.
Gentleman for a husband.
Or was she trying to look at it in terms of, oh, I could build a tomorrow with. Now, if you want to build a tomorrow with me, must you kill my wife? And in the second place, you are going to go to a place where it's not fertile. Fertile in that there's another woman there.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
You know,
But people who are doing this, they should be very careful. If you kill,
she didn't intend to kill.
Adiai,
She didn't. I mean, she just wanted a man and a life. She didn't know that this woman would take it so much to heart. She must have thought that, okay, she must have been caught cheating or flirting for the husband to be suspicious of her in the first place.
Miss Nancy,
So attempting to steal is equal to stealing.
the life in which we are living is full of choices. And anytime you make a choice, there's another element hanging, risk. All right? And so you have made a choice of doing what you're doing. Did you check the risk factor? What kumobi? Una haba no. Nyankopon bon se ne seso. Wo yi okuna man. Then you had gone in to do some kind of a whole lot of move.
Na
And
wo so so aden na wuwu ye. Onwu ye a wonim ne ochina beba. Aden na wutimi di areho ewu, especially when you were right.
when I know the children are mine, when I know you are the one I slept with, where from this? So this woman was thinking a whole lot of things. And easy.
Doc, let's talk about people accepting. You know how it is said that bad things happen to good people too. Good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people too. So when bad things happen to us, how are we supposed to deal with it? Because she definitely did not take this well, and she didn't get her life and herself together ever again, and so she had to die leaving her 3 young ones.
You see, the interesting thing about the way the human mind works is things like this can be in the background for years, and they cause havoc. It's almost like, you know, water depleting of a foundation, kakra, 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 and then finally you lose it. The pain of betrayal, or the pain that's caused by, especially when you know, I mean, nobody likes to be accused wrongly or falsely. So if you know you haven't done something, and yet the world sees it that way, it gets very interesting. Now, to some extent, for people I work with, they may sometimes even believe, or did something happen? Did I go wayward and I don't remember? No. And it becomes almost a place of insanity for them. Just like how you have, you know, chaotic relationships where someone keeps telling you one thing and then you start to believe that it is true. And that can be emotionally painful. Naturally, what happens is when you are worried, when you are thinking, your heart is beating.
Yes.
And every time that keeps happening, hypertension or cardiovascular issues are very simple. You've just opened the door. Now, the other thing we need to recognize is every time you are worried or you are thinking, your body goes out of balance.
Sure.
It is just like, and I'm going to use this analogy, but my heart goes out to all the things that are happening in Israel and Palestinian. You see, currently, if you live around that place, you're on the edge. You don't know what. Excellent.
You're going to hear of a sound.
Beautiful. So they are deploying military, all of that. Same thing happens in your body. Every time you are worried, you are afraid, the body deploys its own soldiers. Now, imagine this case where the bodies deploy the soldiers, but it's a false alarm. So the soldiers are coming with their guns and everything.
And they go there.
Ready to fight. Meanwhile, nothing is happening.
And it's like that every day. So you notice that most of our life functions go out of balance.
Is this what we call anxiety?
It is part of anxiety.
It is part.
So you'll be surprised to know that one of the things that gives us a stable mood of, let's say, happiness, okay, it's a small neurotransmitter or chemical in the brain that we call serotonin. And it's produced in your stomach. However, most of the time, when you are worried, when you are anxious, when you are afraid, you are not able to eat. So you are not giving enough fuel for that to be what? Produced. So then it means that you are going to stay within that state of supposed sadness. Because you are not getting, because your body is out of what? Balance. Now, in the same way, you are in supposed danger. And then your body will start saying, but we're in danger. Why are we thinking about food? So then it slows digestion. It says, don't think about food. And it's part of the reason why when people are in crisis, many people lose the appetite. Because the body is prioritizing the things that are necessary for survival. So if you can imagine that for how long this woman lived, this will come into her mind. And as it comes into her mind, society will also be looking at her.
This is what she did that her husband left her.
Who obviously were envious of her will say, we knew it. Yeah. And all that tension, because maybe she's not able to process in the present, could have led her body to be overreacting every single day. And that is very easy to draw you into your grave because it opens you up to, oh yes, and the last one. Every time you go under stress, your body soldiers that defend you against small cold, malaria, cough, and all those things, they all go to bed. No, they go to bed. Your body is prioritizing what it believes will save you. So imagine, there's a gun to my head. Why am I thinking about malaria?
No.
The gun will kill me faster.
Yeah.
So then the body says we are prioritizing. So immune system, you kodakakra, don't come to work. So you see, it opens you up. And that's why we always talk about handling or dealing with your emotional challenges so you have a great physical health also.
If you ever told a lie on a sibling, on a colleague, on your partner, and it did cause them some pain, as you're listening to Confessions tonight, you should be ashamed of yourself. Shame on you. We'll be right back. You are welcome back. This is Confessions on TV3, brought to you by MTN and supported by EcoPlus. My name is Miss Nancy. With me in the studio tonight is Dr. Seth Asafo and Counselor Edumata.
Yes, ma'am.
Back into the studio, somebody had a comment?
Thank you very much, Miss Nancy. You know, before I get to my comment, you are looking like chalcedonic ash.
Thank you.
Glittering like chalcedonic ash.
What I say?
Yeah.
All for you guys. All for you. Thank you. You're so kind.
Miss Nancy, Jane Kumenuoba ke emin sajin.
Are you speaking Italian?
It is Ga, my language. So it says direct translation. One world we are in and it's trouble, problems. You know, to me, the world is very big, but if you don't take time, you might not enter.
Sure.
There wouldn't be a place for you based on our decisions, our choices. You know, I want to look at the angle from the man. I would say he has also played a role in killing his wife.
Yes.
Because you walk into a hospital, you met a nurse, definitely you were also attracted. So you believed quickly when you saw the results. And now even the Bible says, when you're asked to go a mile, go 2. Nowadays, people are doing two tests, 3 tests. I know of a man, he did 3. The first one came out that it was his kids. The second one, it wasn't his kids. He went for a third one that confirmed the first result, and he was satisfied. He stayed with his wife.
Yeah.
So you go for the test. The result comes. Why didn't you go for a second test just to be sure?
It's expensive.
You know, just to be sure. But in my opinion, he also fell in love with a nurse. So he has played a role in killing. Yes, he's also responsible for her death.
All right, on the side, my lady. Yes.
Yeah, what the lady did was unforgivable. We can't forgive her because looking at the profession side, each job comes with its code of ethics. And I'm sure it's against the code of ethics of the profession as a nurse. So what she did she can even end up in prison for what she just did. So if the man if she reports to the man right now, the man has every right to take the lady to the police station. She can be arrested for that.
Alafia.
Miss Nancy, critical moment.
Very.
I want to pick it from a different angle. Who is the lady in question in the first place? Have we find out about her background? During her childhood, through schooling, has she been raped before? Has she gotten a boyfriend that she loves so much during school days and a lady friend snatched? Have we done a background check of all those things? When she was going through the nursing training and all that,
what experience?
Did she got some experiences? Some of the lecturers might say things to her. You are nobody. You cannot complete. You are an incomplete person. All these things. People tell us things that eat into us. Now, aside of all these things, now let's look at it from the normal lifestyle. Every lady or every man has a desire of a particular man. The ladies will tell you, me or me style of man, me or me kind of man, me or a choice of man. Ebi pe tietia, ebi pe krokroa, ebi pe tintin, ebi pe pot belly, tise midi, ebi super 6 packs. Now, when this man came to the place and all the lab things were going on, like my brother said, the man could have gone in for the second test. But my brother, people don't have time. People don't think through things.
Yeah.
You know, why was the man going for the test in the first place? Like doctor said,
trust that was broken.
There has been something happening in the marriage. The man has heard a lot of things. That is why he decided to do that. The lady has gone through some psychological and immoral problems. So she's also waiting to get something, and then a door opening, and then she will go through. Along the line, this thing happens. This man comes. This is the man I was looking for. This is the type of man. He is rich. He is handsome. He's got whatever, specs she was looking for. Anytime the man comes to the hospital, let's assume it's a particular hospital they normally visit. Mm-hmm. Now, the lady has looked at the relationship between the man, the partnership between the man and the wife. Mm. And then maybe the first son, the second, or the third. So she has seen some kind of, so along the night, she decided to start thinking. Now, let's look at the kind of friends that we also have around us. These things doesn't just happen from one mind. It normally happens with 2 or 3 people, because she will talk to friends. They will say, wait, let's go for it. And she really went for it, but she didn't think about the consequences. Now, the consequences has gotten her, so she needs to fight for it. Police hurting the woman dying, the husband or whatever. Baby, you don't know. You know any ninyame. It must say.
One good turn deserves another, and sometimes one bad turn deserves another. He brought out a very important point of people going through bitterness. Your friend snatches your boyfriend, and you think that if she snatched my boyfriend and she did not die, I will snatch somebody's husband. She too, she will not die.
They are doing that to pay back what they couldn't get. And they had not gotten it out of their mind. They want to leave it, they want to see it, and they want to see it working in their lives. But Miss Nancy, I want you to ask the lady, what preempted her to that idea of, let me change the DNA so that I can get the man? I just want to know what precipitated that. That would have given us a deeper meaning as to...
It's part of the moment thought. You have your doubts already. Let me cement the doubt for you so that she's out of your way. So because Doc, you are a man also. If you actually want your woman, shouldn't the idea of finding out the paternity of your children scare you? Because you know that if you find out they are not yours, your life with her has come to an end. So it's better not knowing.
You see, it is true that sometimes we believe not knowing makes us calmer, but unfortunately it doesn't. what it does is it allows us to make multiple assumptions. And the assumptions become little stories you are telling yourself. And you keep living those stories. So you see, like when I work with people who've been through an infidelity, say man cheats or woman cheats, one partner is afraid of telling the other exactly what happened. But the other partner wants to know because they want to ask those questions. So when you were with her, were you telling her the things you tell me?
Exactly.
What style did you do? They're asking all those things because it hurts them. Now, when you don't tell them, they will make the story up. But if you tell them,
They know.
it will sort of, even if it's not true, it has concrete. It gives them a concrete place for them to say, oh, okay, then this is it. So as for the not knowing, it only causes more chaos. The bigger picture for me is there are things that precipitate why people would want to do such an investigation. And it could be as classic as feeling that you're cheating, or it could be simple things like not the man not feeling respected, or that their wife wasn't there for them. Like they feel that they didn't care. And then they start to wonder, but this relationship, we've been married for how many years? We've had sex only 10 times. And we have 3 children. How? So there are a lot of things in the background that push people to want to find out more. I believe that nobody gets up one day, gets married, or goes into a relationship and then starts to snoop on their partner's phone. Things happen. And as those things happen, the natural human mind wants to conclude or bring closure. And coming to the issue of closure, the lady who did this, having found out that the other woman has passed, she's already struggling. She's suffering because this is eternal. She will never have closure. When you go through situations like this, they say, Kanewu. So if you look at lots of people who've done bad, they say on their deathbed, they confess. You bring it out. And the moment you talk about it, you feel a sense of calm. Unfortunately.
So she coming on confessions is good,
It is great for her. It's a good start. It is a good start.
Thank you, Doc. Hey, tonight, my energy, my emotions are all over the place. This is quite a confession. There is a gentleman we know who says he's an advocate for DNA. And he's always asking, every day he greets people on social media, he would ask you, are you sure your children are yours? For what reason, I do not know. Let us speak to this gentleman about why he has decided to dedicate his time and energy for the advocacy of DNA. He says it's every man's right to know for sure that his children are his. Let's take a look.
Hello, good evening to everyone. Good evening to you, Miss Nancy, and to your viewers and your listeners. My name is Prince Yao Gabin, and many people call me Mr. DNA because I advocate for DNA tests, especially for men. And I believe that DNA tests should be mandatory, and then it should even be added to the Constitution of Ghana that after the birth of every child, a DNA test must be conducted before the child is given a name. So, back to the issue at hand. You see, I have this philosophy that the child is yours until proven otherwise. So, in my advocacy, I always tell men to make sure they take care of the woman. Once she tells you that she's pregnant for you, make sure you provide for her until you do your DNA test and proving otherwise that perhaps the child does not belong to you. Then you go your way. So I always say men should be responsible. We are trying to have responsible fathers, better than our parents. So as we try to tell them to be responsible fathers, we also try to tell them to make sure that the kid that they are, spending money on, spending time with, and do everything for them belongs to them. That is my philosophy. Just make sure that child that you are dedicating all your resources and your time for is yours. Back to the issue. Many people have this ideology that some of the DNA tests proves negative because the baby was perhaps swapped at the hospital. Of course, this could be true. In fact, it has happened on many occasions. So I understand that these things happen. But then I know some hospitals have also come up with other measures to stop this kind of swapping and this kind of things that people do in the hospitals. But in this particular case, there was no a swap, but someone intentionally decided to say a lie just so she could benefit from whatever she was planning to do. She saw a man, nice person, perhaps the man fits to everything that she has been looking for in a man, and say, okay, I know this man belongs to somebody, but I'll do everything possible to grab him from that person. Which is what I think what she did. You see, madam, I will not miss words by telling you are a very wicked person. You are a very, very wicked person. In fact, there's no difference between you and a woman who got pregnant for another person and decided to give that child to another man to raise that child. There's no difference between you and that person. You all have the same wicked mindset. How can you do this? I mean, I can only imagine the pain a woman goes through when she's being doubted by her husband. So this man has been doubted, first of all. That one alone is a pain or a head on itself. And then this man goes for DNA test and comes back and say, well, my doubts were true. I mean, the kids do not belong to me because the DNA test says so. Meanwhile, it was somebody's plant. Someone hatched this idea and decided to just cause a fellow woman pain. You caused the death of this woman through this your action. The death of this woman is on you. You cannot run away from it. You killed her.
You are welcome back. We just heard from the advocate for DNA. Many years ago, there was nothing like DNA. But yet, people were sure that children were for them. And they looked at certain traits. I mean, Doc and Nofa, you've been around for long. Yeah. You have the technical knowledge, you have life experiences, and your years of being in counseling. Are you able to tell physically, for sure, that this child is mine? Doc, is there anything that when you look at, you are sure that this one did? Because amongst my siblings, they all have beautiful, slender noses. Look at my nose, it's a whole nation. Bigger than any of my siblings. My nose stands out amongst all of them. Yet, I'm the only one that walks like my father. There is nothing on me that looks like my father, except the way I walk. Like my father.
See, you are spot on with that.
Exactly.
So, by and large, inheritance, or the way, you see, what DNA is a code. Okay, so it is the DNA of human beings that produces human beings.
Yes.
So it's like you write a code, and the code gives a structure for something to show. The DNA of a dog produces a dog. You understand? Now, in that sense, my DNA should produce similar to the traits that I have. However, there are extreme cases where you have two black people give birth to a child
that is white,
who is not black.
Yes.
I won't say who is white, who's not black. And it's been a basis for people to say cheating. But actually, if you look at the science, it is just chromosomes, and he's mentioned it. If you look at the science, there are these extreme cases where things like that happen. Classic among them is the sickling status.
Okay. Sickle cell.
Sickle cell, so the sickling status. Now, there's a certain gene that when you carry, it doesn't show on one particular test, but on the other. So we've had people say, where did you have that child who is carrying this? My child is not sickling. I don't have it. You don't have it. But because they didn't know. So there are many different variations in the background that can be. So in average, or on the average, the majority will follow the norm, but there are extremes also. So it is always good to be informed rather than to make your assumptions and perceptions based on the little that you know.
Did you ever hear of a case where a child does not look like the parents, but the DNA is 100% correct?
I've not followed DNA that much, so
That
I really don't have that basis. I mean, we don't do. It's not a test that is routine.
Yes.
That people run. But now that you mention, I will go and look into it.
Miss Nancy.
Yes, Counselor.
Somebody can walk on the street and see a toddler, no a funnel. Then this toddler now grows and becomes the son or the daughter. You have given birth and you are doubting the source of your children. What is causing this?
Yeah.
What is making you think that akwalana nyameba? Then there's something wrong. A disorder. In the first place, before I came marry you, it's all about I trust you.
Yeah.
So when the trust is gone, what is it again that we are marrying? Bibi ayira.
I know of a story. Let me share a story with you. There was a family living in Kumasi, and the man won the U.S. lottery. And automatically, you would have to run a DNA to show them that these are yours.
Children.
And when the man was done running, and all of it came clear that the children were his, he bought a Range Rover for the wife to drive for 6 months before they moved to America.
That's all.
Because he has won the lottery.
Yes. Because the DNA proved that all 4 children were for him.
So,
does it mean that in the mind of an average man,
yes,
you always think that possibly these children are not mine?
it's a behavioral pattern, attitudinal pattern. You were just excellent. All of a sudden, you are changing. Your language has changed. And the man and see, the man now fusing to find out. Miss Nancy, you are not like this. And then they make a sign where you back me. Me, yes, and what you say. Who are you? Okay, you Sa okay is what precipitate these things. When doubt sets in, there is death. When doubt sets in, there's desperation.
There is.
And when the desperation escalates, there's death.
That's true.
Hey, who?
And you see, just to add on to that,
Yes,
within societal perceptions, the fact that if you're in a relationship and everything is great, and suddenly your partner, both male and female, are acting otherwise, the first point of call for many people is somebody's giving him or her attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see, those perceptions might not be true. No. And I remember I worked with a couple. That story I keep sharing everywhere I go. So they were married. The husband got a promotion at a bank.
Yeah.
So now he used to come home at 8. He started coming at 8:30. Then the husband made an assumption. The woman made an assumption. He's seeing somebody. So he comes home. Oh, hello, my love. The woman is being a little distant. He makes an assumption. Somebody is giving her attention. They were in a house for almost a year. They weren't fighting, but they weren't intimate. And they wanted a divorce. And usually the court will sometimes send them to people like us. When they came, we delved. We realized what it was. 2 assumptions had just pushed them to a place where it seemed like it was unsalvageable. I say, please go home and have sex. They are still married.
Would you recommend for partners to go for DNA? And if they want to do it and healthily, how should the partners handle the issue of DNA? Because these days, everybody wants to get out of this country. They are getting into all manner of lotteries to get out of the country. DNA becomes inevitable.
Good.
When that day comes, how should they prepare themselves?
So like you rightfully said, it is based on the premise for which you want to do the DNA.
Yeah.
If it is for legal reasons, why not?
Yeah.
But the other side of all of this is you want to do a DNA because you want to be sure about property and things like that. I would say, let me use the word malicious intentions, but reservedly can further hurt you yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
That is the reality. Me, I don't think I need a DNA to say, I have bonded with my son so much that DNA or no DNA,
He's my son.
he's my son.
Hey, very few people think like you.
I've bonded with him too much.
Very few people think like you.
That is me.
I will take your word.
Miss Nancy, I think confession is a beautiful platform for the young and the old to actually pay attention and keep watching. Because with confession, we learn a whole lot. Yeah. One of doctor's submission was like, there should be testing. And one of the things I deducted from my colleagues here, going for the DNA testing shouldn't be once. There should be a fair testing. So if the means is there, in terms of money, it should be 1, 2. So that we don't just depend on just one test, then we do a quick judgment. And also to when we are always patient with the session, at least it helps a lot. Yeah.
Councillor Dumata, your last words? We wrap up.
What I will say is that life is yours. Nobody rule your life. You are the one to move along with your life. So every decision, every intent, try and look at the tomorrow aspect of it. Yeah. You want to have the goodies, but have you thought of the ills? We don't do that. We are always interested in getting what is good for us. But pause a second. And for the lady, Ms. Nancy, she need to go and do a serious confession. Because sadly we calamity power often. And you will best start here free. The man. Hey. Non ko ebusia for. Hey. Hey, what you mayo? Right. You see, anybody who is connected to that woman, they get in there. Yeah. I feel we are not surrender. So we are fine. So we leave is fine. But you need to do that. You need to survive.
Doc?
So, I mean, this is a good show. Yeah. We must also say that this borders on guilt. Yes. If anybody is dealing with feelings of guilt, the first thing you need to do is to talk about it. If you don't believe that you can talk about it to anybody, write it out. Yeah. Sure, vent it out. I call it the deposit. Deposit it out so that you don't have to keep ruminating over it. So if you're dealing with any feelings of guilt because you feel like you've done something to somebody, acknowledging it to yourself is venting it out.
Very excellent.
Tonight, I want to confess that I'm guilty of loving you. I'm guilty of loving you so much. I want to impact so much on your life. And I'm addicted to my own show, Confessions, right here on TV3. Thank you for watching. Same time next week, we come to you with another edition of Confessions. Confessions is brought to you by MTN everywhere you go and supported by Echo Plus. People, I love you. Good night.
Abontene na oto abo edu dem anya shi na e flati. Sesia na me no shasie no wa shasie trotro me bill. Eno na me do ba fie no wa shasie bisa me will. Say na be ko na me te me ho ase na me cancel the deal. Agina wo de bade de me hunu so at the won believe ana. Unko na o problem unhu me na wo need ana. Picture na se ne ma me ni agina hai e ya wa rana.